Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 12th April. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 14. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, no headway in talks over disposal of bodies in Manipur. So there have been protests going on in Manipur. The tribal activists here have been protesting. There were violent protests in September 2015 as well, in which 9 people had died, of which one person's body has been reclaimed and the 8 other dead bodies still remain in the morgues. So an agreement is being sought with the tribal activists. The Manipur government is trying to go ahead with this agreement so that the dispute can be resolved and the bodies can get a decent burial. So this Manipur government, we know the newly formed government led by BJP is presently ruling. Earlier it was the Congress government which was in power in Manipur. The blockade, November 1 blockade, that has been called off now, that we have seen. So that was a blockade by UNC, United Naga Council. So Naga population is also here in Manipur, and this is another issue of other tribal activists. So what they are demanding is the inner line permit. So this inner line permit which is being demanded, that means that any outsider who wants to enter into this region, they need to get this travel document. So this is an official travel document which the government of India will provide to any Indian citizen who wants to travel in a protected area for a limited period. So such inner line permits are presently in force in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram and Nagaland. So now Manipur is also asking for this inner line permit so that entry and stay of non-locals can be regulated. So that is a demand. Even about the new districts, they want the rollback of the creation of 7 new districts. They want a new district created of another Churachandpur district as such. They're asking for government jobs for injured people during the protests, and even those who have died, an ex gratia of 10 lakh to be given to the next of kin for the 9 persons who died. So such are the demands being raised by these tribal activists from the government now. So talks are going on presently. The next is banning online prenatal sex determination content dangerous. So Supreme Court is hearing this case on prenatal sex determination. So this is actually under section 22 of PCPNDT Act. So this sex determination advertisements should be banned or not under this is the question. So online search engines like Yahoo, Google, they have been asked to make sure, even Microsoft, that they should not have any such content online which is advertising sex determination facilities. So this is the point raised here. So whether anything online which is related to prenatal and preconception sex diagnostic techniques, should it be banned, is the question raised. Because if everything is banned, then even the right to know of a person who is inquisitive about these techniques and wants to know about them, that would also become difficult. So this prenatal preconception means even before conception, the sex diagnostics can be done. So that is done through these techniques which are available. So this is the point raised now. So Supreme Court is hearing on this matter, and it says no, everything, general prohibition of any online content on this topic is curtailment of fundamental rights to know of a genuine information seeker. So this will be offense under Article 19(1)(a), violation of this fundamental right. The next is HIV law promises equality. So HIV bill, we have discussed it earlier too. So this has been passed by the parliament now. So this guarantees right to treatment, but as far as possible were the 4 words. If you remember, we have discussed this. So it prohibits discrimination against these HIV people and people living or affected with HIV in employment, education, housing, healthcare, insurance facilities, public-private offices, even accessing public facilities. There should be no discrimination, shops, restaurants, hotels, etc. Also, it prohibits any individual from publishing information or advocating feelings of hatred against HIV positive people or those living with them. And it also provides assurances of ART program, antiretroviral therapy, which is the treatment for HIV. So India runs the 2nd largest of such program in the world too. So that is being claimed. The next is visit to India was hugely satisfying, says Hasina. So this is Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Her visit to India has concluded. The deals have been signed. We have discussed that. About Teesta, she has also said that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has given alternative proposal. This also we discussed, that she said that 4 smaller rivers which flow into Bangladesh, they can be shared instead of Teesta. So this was the statement given. The Bangladesh Prime Minister now here is claiming that India had built a barrage at Ghazal Doba Point. on the Teesta River. So this dam here, barrage here, has adversely affected Bangladesh now. So they did not raise their voice then, is what the Bangladesh PM says, but this is affecting the flow now. So this point was also raised. Next is Supreme Court non-committal on exchange of old notes. So this is regarding the Specified Banknotes Cessation of Liabilities Act. So this act now the cesses means ends liability of the RBI to exchange old notes, 500 and 1000 rupee notes. Even these demonetized notes, having them in large quantity is also an offense under the act. So Supreme Court is hearing a petition on this, whether this window which was closed earlier than as decided, whether it should be opened up again or not. So Supreme Court has not given any commitment that this will be done. It says first we'll see whether there's any need to extend the cutoff date, then this will be decided. The Union Finance Minister says that this decision of preponing it and ending the window was taken after seeing the rampant malpractices and irregularities as such. So this is the justification given by the government too. So Supreme Court is hearing the matter. It will be hearing this case in July 2017. So we'll hear more about it then. The next is UNICEF seeks help from Islamic bodies to achieve vaccination goal. So this is regarding the measles rubella vaccine, which government has now introduced in the universal immunization program from Feb 2017. So there are some apprehensions amongst the Muslim communities. There was such apprehensions even during polio. So the people here, the parents here did not give vaccination, which actually defeats the purpose of the government of universal immunization. So that is very important. So clearing these myths is very important. There are myths that government is intentionally creating these vaccines which would result in eliminating the population of Muslims. So such are the myths. So these have to be clarified. So even UNICEF has proactively taken a step and is communicating with the with the Urdu media in efforts to create trust in the vaccines and address the myths around immunization. So this is there. So rubella, which is also known as German measles, this is a mild infection which can have serious consequences if a pregnant woman suffers from this. So this rubella measles vaccine has been introduced now by the government. Measles already was there. Now this combined vaccine has been introduced. So this is very important for India to reduce the infant mortality rate in the country too, because to achieve even Millennium Development Goals and sustainable development goals too, this step is very important. So this is regarding that. So UIP, Universal Immunization Program, was launched in 1985. It's presently a part of NRHM, National Rural Health Mission. There are 11 diseases which are covered presently. You can see them. Measles, rubella is also added up now. Hepatitis B was added in 2007. Even Japanese encephalitis has been added. Even you must have heard of injectable polio vaccines now been introduced. Even adult vaccine against Japanese encephalitis is being introduced now. So this is there. And from Feb 2017, measles rubella vaccine has been rolled out. Then next is G7 stands united on Syria. So G7 comprises of these 7 prominent most developed nations as such. Also EU is represented here. So there was a foreign ministers meeting here which endorsed the attack from USA on Syrian government after the chemical attack. So chemical attack is said to be on the behest of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. He is responsible for that attack in which 89 people died. So US is also supported on this, and they are asking Russia to also come together against Syrian government, and also sanctions on Russia are being proposed, but that was not agreed upon at that G7 meeting. So G8 actually comprises of Russia. G7 is excluding Russia. So this you can see G7 comprises of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, UK, US and Japan from Asia. So these are the nations. EU is also represented as such. Then next is Nepal tables new bill amending constitution. So a new constitution amendment bill has been introduced in Nepal for accepting the demands of fulfilling the demands of Madhesi parties. So we know Prachanda has become the Prime Minister of Nepal, the President of Nepal now, and Nepal government has been formed by agreeing bringing on board even Madhesi. So Madhesis are also supporting the government now. So their demands are now being added up. So what is expected is a federal commission which may be formed. So Madhesis are of Indian origin and they have been protesting since September 2015 till Feb 2016 last year, they were protesting against the implementation of the new constitution because they felt it is resulting in marginalization of their community. So they are living in this is a Terai community. So they are in the plains. So here the population density is high. The area they occupy is low. And the Nepali population, the Pahadi population there in the hills, the area occupied by them is wide, but in population wise it is less. So that's what it is. So this demands the districts, the way they were formed, that was resulting in their marginalization. So these new demands have been taken on board. So this is the latest development, a constitutional amendment proposed. Also, local elections are scheduled to be held from May 14 as such. Even another news was that China is also funding the local elections in Nepal. So that was also a development here. So Prachanda, he is a former Maoist leader, the president of Nepal, and he is actually pro-China and a little anti-India stance which is there. So this is the fact. The next is Supreme Court denies offset tariff to Tata Adani. So this was an appellate electricity tribunal's award, which has been set aside, means cancelled by the Supreme Court now. So this tribunal had allowed Adani Power and Tata Power. These two are companies functioning in Gujarat, Haryana here. They were providing electricity. So the compensation tariff they were charging from consumers was allowed to them. Why were they charging this compensation tariff? Means, of course, tariff was increased because the coal which they were sourcing from Indonesia had changed its coal export prices and they had aligned it with international market. So the coal prices increased. That's why these two companies were also demanding more tariff from consumers. So Appellate Electricity Tribunal had allowed that. So now the Supreme Court has set aside that, and it says that this change in Indonesian coal export regulation is no provision, does not mean that consumers should compensate for it. It's not a force majeure event. So force majeure event means in some such forceful situations, the companies may have to increase the tariffs. So under the deals which they have, agreements which they have, this does not fall under the force majeure event. They are not forced to buy Indonesian coal only. So this only if it's related to Indian laws as such, it can be called a force majeure event, is the Supreme Court's viewpoint. So it has ordered the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission to go into the matter again and decide the quantum of relief. So this is the news. The next is GST and data will be totally secure. So Goods and Services Tax Network, which is a company set up to provide IT infrastructure. We have discussed this earlier. So now there are statements given that it is completely foolproof. Data security protection would be provided. Only the taxpayer and the concerned assessing officer would have access to information. This information would be completely secure because taxpayers will be giving in all the information regarding the prices, the costs. So if this is released or comes out in the open, then competitors will come to know about the details, and that would be a setback to the company. So it has been now assured that it is completely data secure and data protection has been provided for. So this is regarding the software, because when goods and services tax is brought in, then the software also, the testing is presently going on. So this is also an essential part of GST infrastructure. Then next is NTPC's Bangladesh venture secures $1.6 billion. So this is the Indian Exim Bank which has provided this loan. So this is regarding Maitri Super Thermal Power Project, which is in Bangladesh, which has been supported now by NTPC of Indian Public Sector company. So here PSU is having a joint venture with the Bangladesh Power Development Board, a 50-50 joint venture for setting up this coal-fired thermal power plant in Bangladesh, Maitri. Then next is Global Collaboration Project BEL-2 moves a step forward. So BEL-2 experiment is taking place in Japan. Indian physicists are also involved here. It's a collaboration of around 700 scientists from 23 countries. So on experimental and theoretical side, both Indian participation is significant here. And this is also a study to find out the violations, experiments to find out the violations of standard model of particle physics. So standard model we have discussed quite often in very much detail. So you can refer to earlier videos. So this is the CERN that we had discussed with respect to CERN. So what's new development where Indian participation is also there. So this new development is that this is BEL-2 experiment similar to CERN experiment in Japan. BEL-2 experiment is taking place in Japan. That you should remember. So this is regarding that. Then next is soon doctors can see a fever. So this is a non-invasive monitoring of body temperature which can take place without using a thermometer. This has been developed by Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research physicists. So here what has been developed is a ferrofluid emulsion. So this changes color based on the temperature. So its temperature sensitivity is there. So its color can be code can be fixed, so that based on the color you can know the temperature. So this temperature sensitive polymer is used in this. Next is the last one, robotic hand rocks manufacturing cradle. So this is Tata Motors subsidiary TAL which has developed Bravo. So this is a term coming from Bravo and Robo. So this is a brave robo, you can say Bravo, Robo, Bravo. So this is India's first indigenously made industrial articulated robo for micro, small and medium enterprises. So it can be used for lifting operations as such, managing raw material or product packaging in the final stages. That can be done by this robo. So there are 3 different variants carrying payload of 2, 5 and 10 kgs. So this is Bravo. So that is it. Thank you.